going on, guys? It's your boy the Markham Knight here. Today's video is going to be all about the Titans TV show that has been announced and some casting has been announced for. We don't know anything about the story yet. We don't know anything more than just the casting that they've released. But I did want to talk about the casting and kind of what direction I think they're going to go in. And I wanted to kind of give you a little bit of insight into each of the actual characters for those of you who don't really follow the Teen Titans. Or the Titans in this matter. They're just called Titans, so we don't even know if they're supposed to be teens. Start with the one that you kind of always have to start with, Nightwing, who's the team leader. Brendan Thwaites is going to be playing him. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name, but definitely he's going to be playing him. He definitely looks the part. He might gain some weight. Maybe he'll do that in later seasons, actually, if they wanted to portray like a younger version of him now. Maybe if they wanted to start him off as a Robin and then he becomes Nightwing in a later season. But if they start him off as Nightwing at the beginning, I'm not mad at that. This guy has been in Gods of Egypt, Maleficent, Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't think any of them were outstanding performances, but he does have a little bit of background into this fantastical world type thing, so it would be interesting. Nightwing himself, for those of you who don't know, started as Robin. He was Batman's protege. He became the Nightwing because he wanted to get out of under Batman's shadow, basically. He basically was Batman's Robin the whole time. He wanted to become his own superhero, so he became Nightwing. And we do know that a big part of this is going to take place in Bloodhaven, so we do know that that's going to be playing a big angle here. What we don't know is Nightwing, a big story for the Titans and Nightwing is Slade Wilson, that's Deathstroke. Deathstroke is in the movie, so we don't know if he's going to be in this, but I'm going to talk about that a little further. Let's go on and move on to the next character that was named Raven. Raven is going to be played by Tegan Croft. For those of you who don't know Tegan Croft, the only thing I know that she's been in is The Osiris Child. That was a movie with Kellen Lutz. It was not a great movie. She's a kid. She's 13, I think. She's about 13 years old, or at least looks like she's about 13 years old. They're playing a really, really young Raven here. So it is going to be interesting to see kind of how that dynamic works with the rest of the cast. Some of them do look older, some of them do look younger, but Raven herself is basically, she's the daughter of the demon Trigon. Trigon basically has his own realm that he resides in, and she's trapped him within the thing that's going to be on for her forehead, the jewel that's in there, and she's trapped him there, and he's all evil, and she's someone who's trying to not give in to her evil side, because she does know that Trigon is her father, and the genetics play a big part into this. So she's battling with her demons constantly, so that angle is going to be interesting to see. Next one I'm going to talk about, probably the most controversial one, it's Starfire. This is controversial because Anna Diop was named as Starfire, and for those of you who don't know, Anna Diop is black. Now, Starfire is not white, Starfire is not black. A lot of people have complained that Starfire is portrayed as white, kind of the way she comes off in the comic books and in the TV shows and stuff. And I would disagree with that to an extent, but in the comic books she's also portrayed as a very... I wouldn't say that it's just black women are portrayed as strong women, but a lot of times they are, and she does have that personality about her. It did not do anything for me to hear it one way or the other. I don't care if she's black, I don't care if she's white. Technically speaking, she's Tamaranian. That means she's from the planet Tamaran, and she basically, her planet was conquered by Daemonites. Daemonites, their leader was Hellspawn, who's someone who has history with Superman, but he's basically, they've conquered basically her planet, and her sister, they're both princesses, her sister, who was also a princess, stayed on that planet, and now it conquers that planet, but they don't know that until much later. So it'd be interesting to see kind of how her backstory will play into anything, if at all, for who knows how many seasons. But it'll definitely be interesting to kind of see that play out. She is someone without a planet, kind of like Superman, last of her kind. So it's going to be interesting to also see, because she doesn't get any of the idioms and stuff like that. She's a little bit maybe like Drax like that. She doesn't get a lot of stuff, and she speaks in weird ways. But I'm not bothered at all about her being black. You could see like a Photoshop version of her as Starfire. It looks fine. I don't have any complaints about it. People complaining about it are just being a little too picky. This is also supposed to be an Elseworld story. The comics is supposed to be the only real main continuity. Everything else is an Elseworld story. And by the main continuity, I mean Earth Zero, not Earth 2 Black Superman or stuff like that. That's not main continuity. You don't get mad at Earth 2 Black Superman. You can't get mad at basically Earth whatever this is going to be for the Titans and Black Starfire. It should have no impact on anything, and she's not going to be black at any point because she's going to be constantly in that orange hue. So it's not going to be a big deal to me. Next one I want to talk about is Ryan Potter as Beast Boy. Beast Boy has always been a fan favorite for the Teen Titans because he's the funny guy. He's the guy who makes a lot of jokes. He's the charismatic one without kind of being that one. He's a little dumb and funny, and he's the jokey one. And that's okay, but he's played by someone who's half Japanese, I believe. No one complained about that because he just looks the part, so I do feel like it might have to do with looks, but realistically speaking, he's going to be painted green, and Anna Diop's going to be painted orange, so we're not going to notice the looks part of her being black or anything too much. And Ryan Potter, I haven't really seen him in anything. The only thing he was in, I think, is some voice acting stuff. I don't think he's acted for real in any of the movies, but they've obviously either seen something or they just think he looks the part, which is going to be kind of interesting to kind of see how he kind of has that kind of comedic chops to kind of play this. Next one I want to talk about was Alan Ritchson and Minka Kelly as Hawk and Dove. Hawk and Dove are a sibling superhero combo. Basically, his powers are enhanced superhero everything. He's basically like a super Captain America, and she's basically, she has her own powers as well, but she's the person who tries to keep him in check. He's like the big power of the two of them, and she's kind of like the pure one and everything that kind of holds him back and stops him from kind of really letting his rage loose. Otherwise, he'd become like this Hulk type being, not maybe of that strength or anything, but definitely a high level strength guy. In terms of the actual story, we don't know anything about this. We do know it takes place in Bloodhaven because there is a Bloodhaven police officer named Amy who's going to be playing a big role in this. So Bloodhaven means Nightwing should be in this. Nightwing being in this means this is at this point he's either created his own team or Batman's created his own team for him. Will we see Batman? Will we hear about Superman? How much will they talk about Justice League? Nobody knows. I feel like if they just mention them a little bit at the beginning, they don't have to make them a big part of this. They don't have to cast everybody and do everything. Maybe in a flashback or something sequence we see Batman, but realistically you don't need a crazy character to do Batman. You don't need to do anything more than taking focus away from the Teen Titans. You don't need to take focus away from the Titans. They're the story. If they tell some stories here and there about the rest of the Justice League, that's okay, just smaller. Cyborg will not be in this because he's on the big screen and now he's associated with the Justice League, so they don't want to associate him with Titans. I also think for the same reason Deathstroke will not be in this, or at least not for the first 2 or 3 seasons maybe, until Deathstroke gets his own movie out and that thing gets going on that side. Or maybe they'll bring him in the second season or something just to hype up the Deathstroke movie. So it would be interesting to kind of see if they play to that part, because he has a big part to play in Robin's life, and I guess at this point in Nightwing's life, or at least he should have a history with him if he's Nightwing already. That would be interesting. I feel like the villain that they're going to go for in the first season is probably going to be Brother Blood. Brother Blood is basically this cult that's run by Brother Blood himself, and they're basically, he's using them to bring darkness to the world, and that's something that the Titans are going to have to take down. I do feel like at times it will feel like a villain of the week story, but I think that's okay, just to kind of get things off the ground and establish kind of the dynamics and everything of the group itself, to get a feel for everything. Anyways guys, I'm very excited about Titans. I'm not bothered at all about Anna Diop's skin color or her casting. Any of these casting here, we haven't seen much from any of them. Tell me what you think.
This is the Markham Knight telling you to like, comment, and subscribe.